This is Joan Jerkovich, your life coach, coming to you right here on News Radio 1150 KSAL. And we have got one heck of a show for you this Valentine's weekend. We've got the caller who's thinking about rekindling his relationship. We've got the caller who's talking about her soulmate. And then if you come back Sunday evening, the bonus caller wants to talk about sex toys. That's a fun one you won't want to miss. But let's talk about rekindling that relationship. The first of all, when you think about either getting back with an ex, or maybe you're even in one of those relationships already that you know has just kind of died on the vine and it needs some revitalization, the first thing you need to think about if you find yourself in these situations is, why bother? Do I really even want to rekindle this relationship, or should I be looking to get out? Some questions you might answer for yourself are, does this relationship serve me, or does it maybe somehow hurt me, even hurt me on maybe a regular basis? Another thing to think about is, have you tried everything to make this relationship work, or is it just too broken? Or have you seen some little shreds of hope lingering along the edges of this relationship? Let's say you've decided it's worth giving it a try. So what you first need to think about as well is the understanding that if this is going to work, both you and your partner have to be on board with this. You can't do this all by yourself. You jointly need to take some responsibility to reignite your connection. At this point, it might be good to see what maybe happened that you fell apart from each other or broke up your relationship. What were some of the factors at play that kind of kept you from connecting, staying connected, and basically put that break in the relationship break up? If in all honesty, you can pinpoint some of those things, maybe too much time with friends, too much time on your computer, not paying attention, not showing appreciation, being too critical. If you can take a real honest look at what happened to break up your relationship in the first part, you can start to fix some of those issues instead of getting back into it and just repeating and going back to more of the same. Now, getting back to relationship doesn't mean that you're going to give up your individuality. So think about, how are the two of you as a couple really good together? What are those things that the two of you enjoy doing together that really nurture your relationship, that help you have fun, help you develop some history again together, because you're rebuilding with all of this? And I know I've talked to people on my show about how sometimes you might even go back to what kindled you and got you started and started those fires burning in the first place when you first met. Maybe that's a lot of years ago, but you could still relive some of those moments. But then also, as you talk about how are you good together, how are you good as an individual? Can you honor your unique individuality and give yourself the space to do just that? Maybe you've grown and matured to where you can both have an independence yet an interdependence, and that is the most healthy relationship you can look to have. You're probably going to go through some self-examination and some almost like couple examination and see the things that didn't work out. And I want you to think of those and look at those issues with new eyes, where you're now going to look at those things that caused you angst and conflict before. Look at those issues with understanding and appreciation. Tamp down those ideas or feelings of wanting to be critical or exercise your opinion or having to always be right. Try and soften all those feelings and just be more accepting and allowing things to flow. Now, this is a very important point here, because the marriage expert and psychologist John Gottman, PhD, did a lot of research on this and found that it takes 5 positive interactions with your mate to every 1 negative interaction for a marriage or relationship to last. So if you're not running that 5 positives to 1 negative, you have a big chance of getting divorced or this relationship breaking up again. And here's another important point to remember. You're going to need to rebuild that emotional connection. You're going to have to start that with good communication. And I would also say there could be something to be said for rebuilding the emotional connection before you start in with the physical connection. Now, I know that may not be realistic, but you must keep that in mind, that building this emotional vulnerability, sharing affection that's not just physical or sexual, creating and sharing new experiences together, laugh, have fun, lots of talking, lots of listening, and know that you aren't going to agree on everything. So in those situations, practice understanding, throw in a little bit of humor, always react or interact with kindness in your heart, and show respect. Now, coming up, let's hear about Jackson, who's talking about rekindling a relationship. That's here on the Joan Jerkovich Show on News Radio 1150 KSAL.